Start setting, voice chat. This basically tells you if the players are in game chat, who they can talk to. They'll either say they can talk to no one, they can talk to their team, anyone on their team, or all players. Teams, free for all means that everyone's on a different team. Cooperative means you got everyone on the same team, and then we got two teams, and then basically how many teams they need. Custom means that they can choose their own team. Team size is basically what it sounds like. This one will choose a team size. This is one team size, so each team has one player. Each team has 2 players, 3 players, and then in this one will split each team. Default class identifier. It'll say what class it sets to at the start of the game. So basically, if you want to set the class 16, it sets class 16 at the start of the game. So you can set any class at the start of the game, it'll be that class. Revert to default class at. Okay, so it'll change what time it'll change to this class. So at the end of the game, you can make it'll change to this class. Or when anyone's eliminated, you change their class. At the end of the round, change that class. In the game, yep. Spawn limit. How many times you can spawn? You can spawn infinite. You can go all the way up to 10. 10. After last spawn, basically after you dead, after all of these ran out, you either go to spectate, or spectate meaning that you can see everyone in the little eyes in the corner of your screen. Or you can go to team 1, team 2, any team. So you can make them go to any team. So that's really good for like maps where when you die, you don't want to die. Total rounds, all the way up to 100. How many rounds is in your thing? So how many times does the player play the game before the score resets? Team rotation. It'll change what team you're on whenever you say it. So every 5th round, every 4 rounds, it'll just change what team you're on. You go all the way up to 60th. So every 60 rounds, it'll change your team. In-game rotation on match point. Basically, if you're playing if you have 5 rounds, once a team has won 4 rounds, it'll end the game because the other teams it's gonna be impossible for them to get the rounds. So if a team won 3 rounds already, it'll just end the game because it's impossible for the other team to catch up. Team visual determine round start. It'll show you what team you're on, and you can say that the round start, the game start. Basically, round start is you can see what team you're on right when you go in, right when you go in the hub. But game start is when someone hits start game, you see what team you're on. Time limit, how long will the map last until it ends? You all the way up to 120. Fastest time wins, good for a race, but basically the fastest person wins. Meaning, if you're doing a death run and one person does 10 seconds and one person does 5 seconds, the 5-second person will win. All teams must finish. Also good for a race because it'll make it so that the game doesn't end until all teams are done, and it'll just kill you after all teams finish. Win condition. What allows you to win? Most rounds win. So you win the game if you've won the most rounds or you have the most score. Elimination stands. This comes in all these when it'll end the game once you hit this number. So all the way up to I think 100, 200, 1,000, 1,000 eliminations to end the game. So you can set it to any of those in the game. Creatures eliminated to end the game. Basically zombies. Objectives. There's an objective tile in the creative thing, which is this. Once you've broken all of these, if you've broken 10 objective tiles or 1 objective tile in the game, it'll change. That'll change when it changes. Collect items in the game. So the coins. However many coins you want them to collect in the game, you win. And you can also set that to all. Score to end the game. You can add score with the score identification, and first person to get to the score, so 10,000, you win. Last standing ends the game. the last one, standing is the game. It's basically what it says. Join in progress. You can either make it spectate or they can spawn in right away. So one map you probably want them to spawn in right away, or you can go next team, or you can make them spawn in the team. So it gets really specific on that point. So spawn location, either the spawn pads, which is what you place there, the sky, which would be up in the air, or the current location. So if I said the current location, right where here I'm standing, that's where it'll spawn. That's where you spawn. Spawn location. Okay. Respawn time. I mean, basically, individual means every 5 seconds. I mean, every time, however long it takes you to respawn, it'll take 5 seconds for one player to respawn. So if you die, you have to wait a total of 5 seconds for you to respawn. Wave, meaning every 5 seconds, everyone who has died can respawn. So with the wave, if you set your respawn time to 10 seconds, every 10 seconds someone will respawn. So if you die right at the 9 seconds mark, you'll only respawn when it hits 10 seconds. Post game spawn location. Right when you go into the world, the game doesn't instantly start. This will tell you where you spawn. Pre-game location or instant start. Only allow respawn if spawn pads found. So if you disable all the spawn pads, it'll end the game. Meaning, so this is good for like bed wars and stuff. Because once you break the bed, it'll disable all the spawn pads, and then boom, you're dead. You can't do anything. Auto start. When you go into the world, however long it takes you to start. Game start countdown. 5 seconds. Basically, how long it takes for the game to start once you start it. Vehicle trick multiplier. This multiplies the trick points that you get by however much you want, all the way up to 1.9. So when you get a vehicle, you know those points on the bottom of the screen, it'll multiply that by that. Keep players build structures between rounds. Basically, if someone builds a lot, the player build structures, you know, the builds, these things, it'll keep this between rounds. It'll stay. That'll stay in between rounds. Allow out of bounce. Ooh, this one's kind of weird. If you turn it off, it'll make it so that if you fly out of the map, all the way out of the map, then this weird thing happens where you can't do anything. Like, you just gotta swim. But if you turn off out of bounds, and also end the game. So if you go in here and go out of the game, it'll end the game. And when you go back in, whatever. So you go out of bounds, it'll basically make it like that. But if you turn it off, it'll basically out of bounds will be a barrier. So let's turn this off. Out of bounds, you can't go through it. Basically just a barrier. When the game starts, it still works when you thing like that, but when the game starts, this will just be a barrier. You can't go through it. Okay. Allow spectating other players. Basically, other teams. Basically, if you turn this off, it'll only allow you to spectate your team. That way people can't cheat and tell you where the player is, how much health they have. Elimination score, how much score you get for elimination, and how much score you get for assists. Friendly fire is if you kill your teammates or not. Basically. Time of day, basically change how much sunlight you have. Camera filter, this is just changes what everything looks like. So if I turn this on here, everything just looks really comical and stuff. And you can mess around with those, but everything will change depending on what thing you set it to. Light brightness, if you set it to 0, basically everything will be black and you barely see anything. So I recommend putting that at default, but if you're making like a horror map, you can set it to 0 and stuff. Light color, basically what color light is. Fog, if you add fog on the map, it'll change how much fog you can see, so how thick it is. And fog color, easy. Starting health, how much health you start out with. So if you set your max health to 200 and you set your starting health to 100, you start out with all of your health. Like if you set it to 50, you only start out with 100 health, but you still get 200 health. But you only start with 100 health, and the health can go up to a lot. You can have a lot of health. Starting shield, same thing as starting health. Infinite ammo. You can shoot, infinite ammo. Everything's infinite basically. So, not crash pads. Grapplers infinite. Everything's infinite. Infinite resources basically. This is how much materials you can hold in your backpack. meaning how much you can hold. Simple. And then harvest style. It's basically how much how you harvest. So if it's like there's a special creative harvest style, and then the battle royale is just like in a real game, and it saves the world. I don't know about save the world because I haven't done it before, but it's basically gonna let you harvest how save the world is. You can mess around with that. Harvest multiplier. So you know how playgrounds you get a lot more mats per hit. If you set this like 10, you'll get 10 times mats per every time you hit. Aim assist, allow aim assist. Some people like to turn this off. Personally, I do not. It's stupid. Allow building. You can build walls, traps, anything. This one only lets you build traps only, and then this one only lets you build buildings and no traps. Allowed to edit. So you know those the can't think of the name of it right now, but basically it allows you to edit everyone's walls, even the ones you don't place. Builds can destroy environment. So basically, when you build, if you like build it on a square, sometimes it'll destroy your environment. So in game, if you build a stair right here, and right now it'll break all these cubes. Okay, but if you turn that off, it won't allow you to break any of those cubes. If you turn off the builds destroy environment, so builds will just be in the thing. It'll be really weird. Or environmental damage. Anything you place, it allows you to. It'll tell you what you can break basically or shoot. So this is all things. You can't break anything when you do this. Player build only, so only stuff that the player builds, and that's it. Structure damage. This is builds that you use, like the normal builds in like Battle Royale. So it's all you break everything. Self built, you can only break stuff you build. You can only break stuff your team builds. You can only break the stuff that your enemy team builds, or anyone on the team. And then enemy and self build, so your stuff and anyone else's, and then or you can break nothing. How much damage your pickaxe does? Pickaxe destruction, it'll be instant. It'll break any wall instantly, or default, or none. It won't do any damage. PvP pickaxe damage, it does 20 damage per pickaxe. You can turn that off. It'll do 0 damage per pickaxe. Down but not out. Meaning when you shoot someone and they get knocked, it'll knock them, but it won't kill them yet until someone thirsts them. And you can turn this on or off for default. And then the player's items drop. So if they drop, they'll drop on the ground, and they keep inventory on. And if they delete, you'll never get them again. So you'll just basically delete everything. Nothing will drop or anything. Allow item drop. It'll tell you if you can drop items or use items or anything. Allow item pickup. If you can pick up items, basically respawn time. However long once you want it takes them to respawn. Spawn immunity. This is how long you can't take damage when you spawn, but every time you shoot, it'll reset. So if you set this to 60 or 50 minutes or 1 minute, however long, if they shoot, it'll turn off. So it doesn't really matter if they shoot. All damage on or off, what that is. Gravity, if you set it to high, they can barely jump. Very high, they can barely jump at all. Basically can't jump. They have really high jump fatigue. Very low, one shot, so you can jump really high. Jump fatigue, every time you jump, it makes a slower jump. And that's glider redeploy. Can you culture glider, player flight? Basically, can the player fly? Like in creative mode like this. It'll allow you to fly. And then player fight sprint, and it'll let you move a little bit faster when you're flying. And flight speed, how fast you fly. Player names and locations. What you can see. You can only see where your team is. You only see where everyone is, or you can only see where everyone is. And then health, strength, and elimination. This is both health, light meds, and cheating. So if you set it to 50, which is normally what people like to have it at, you'll get 50 health or shield. Order granted, basically how much would you get per kill, and gold. Gold is good for vending machines. You can buy stuff out of vending machines with gold. Self damage on hit amount. Every time you hit, it'll do a little bit of damage depending on how high this number is. So if you hit something, it'll do 100 damage basically. This and good for hide and seek. Self damage only on no zero damage, non zero damage. So it basically can't kill you. Yes or no? It'll say if the self damage can kill you or not. Self damage target filter. Um, it'll only work for zombies and other creatures. It'll work with all players or only players, so real players. And then self damage weapon filter. When it works with ranged weapons, pickaxe, melee weapons, so shotguns, snipers, and stuff. You're gonna have to try that out for yourself. Allow manual respawning. You can press a button to respawn, yes or no. It'll show if you have wood, metal, or gold. Normally gold is off, you can actually see your gold. And this is how many things you can hold at a time. You can set it to 5 or 4, whatever. How many things you want the player to hold. Player elimination audio. You can hear if the player dies. And then timer countdown. When the game starts, it's a countdown. Hub in. This is just basically how long it takes to count down the game started. Hub info. On the side, it'll show you your creature elimination score, whatever you say to be on the side. It'll show that on your screen. Or you can make it show. So this you can set no. You can't see it. You cannot see it. So resource feed. So what you get on elimination, you can see that. And then winning condition, how you win, and then you can set the tiebreaker for all of these. And then map screen display, it'll either show the overhead map or the scoreboard. Show okay to video scoreboard. Say you can see your scoreboard. There's a watermark. It'll put your Islin code on the map. If you turn this on, it'll be really small. Gaming, you can change this to your whole team wins or something. And victory sound is busted the sound effects that they have, and that's happening in victory. And the cool thing is you can change your victory call out. So the words under when it says victory, you can say T or Y, and it'll set that. Hide elimination feed, yes or no, basically, and then hide party eliminations. Oh, that's it. The settings. That's all I'm gonna do for today. Permissions. You can edit, and this is your descriptions. And backup. We'll save a backup. And you can restore a backup. Click for more information. And this is how to publish your island. You have to have a credit card for that. But that's about it. Peace, y'all.
Do it! Just do it! Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Nothing is impossible! No, what are you waiting for? Do it! Just do it!